Hi, today I'm going to do a book review on how to win friends and influence people. It's been a great book. It's been around for many, many years. It's still very relevant. There's not many books that are like that. This book was written in the 1930s, I think it was, and by Dale Carnegie. So, great book. Now, if you wait to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a chance to win a copy of this book. So stick around and watch this video. I'm going to do this video, not that this book does not apply to basic principles to everyone in every walk of life, personally and professionally. But I'm going to do it today thinking about how this applies to an insurance agency or an insurance agent. So hope you enjoy. Let me start by telling you why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video for 3 reasons. And those 3 reasons are to teach, to learn, and to internalize. And maybe 4 reasons: teach, learn, help, and internalize. So I heard not long ago, and I think it's a cool concept. I've always believed this. I just didn't have a little cool saying to go with it. To teach is to learn twice. So if I want to be better at the principles in this book and other books, I think it's valuable for me to teach, take enough time to go through and see how this applies to real life and summarize it and give that out to other people that I work with, my family and customers, and anyone else who is interested in this kind of material. So to teach is to learn twice. That's one reason I do this, is to learn myself. And then the second reason is to help other people. I know that I'm a firm believer that if you give, you get back, and if you give, it's just good. And you're happier when you give than when you're getting or you're receiving even. So to help is a cool thing too. So if this does help you, I would really appreciate you sharing that with me, either if you're watching this on YouTube, posting in the YouTube at the bottom of the video, and or send me an email at eddie@genesissoftware.com, and that's Genesis with a J. And then the third reason is it helps me internalize this information to the point of taking action. So what I don't want to do is just read a book, learn some cool things, and then not use it. We do that with a lot of information, a lot of things that we do in life. So work hard to try not to do that. So that's the reasons that I'm doing this today, and I hope you enjoy it. So here we go. Okay, so let's get started. If you'll let me, I'm going to read a few of my notes here. Maybe not be very cool or professional, but it helps me in being authentic, and we're just trying to get the content across, and that's really all that matters. So the book is broken down into 4 sections. The first section is the fundamental techniques of handling people. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds kind of, nobody's going to handle me. But you'll see that it's really talking about great things. It's not talking about handling people. But that's the way it describes it. I guess in the 30s that made sense. And the second of the 4 sections of the book is 6 ways to make people like you. So that's cool. I think most of us would like to be liked. There's some people that says, I don't care if anybody likes me or not. And if you're watching this, then you don't care about this, and that's cool. The third of the 4 reasons is win people to your way of thinking. So I guess that's like convince people, to do what you want them to do. And again, that maybe sounds, like you're trying to manipulate, but you'll love the things in here, trust me. And then the 4th of the 4 segments of this book is ideas about how to be a leader. So I'm going to go through each of the 4 sections very quickly. I suggest you buy the book or wait to the end of this video. I'm going to show you how you get a chance to win a copy of the book today. So let's get going. So in the first section where it talks about handling people, I said that sounded kind of, nobody going to handle me, maybe what you're thinking. But it talks about some really valuable information. It says, and I'm not going to give you everything in this book, by the way. These are the highlights, the things that resonated with me most. You may read the book and some other things click with you. But this says, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Man, I believe that completely. I think we should not criticize people, help people. If you're critiquing or proofing a document, I'm not talking about that, but do not criticize people. Don't hurt people. Try to lift people up, find the things they're doing wrong, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But don't criticize them. Don't condemn them. And don't complain about them. Don't complain about life. Do not complain. I'm a big believer in that. When I did the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I'll try to post a link to that in this one too. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I think number 1 is be proactive and don't don't complain, just take action. Figure out how to solve a problem. So, and then the other thing under that first heading of handling people, in addition to don't criticize, condemn, or complain, is give honest and sincere appreciation. So there's some other stuff in that section, but that's all I'm going to talk about here. Give honest and sincere appreciation. So be grateful, appreciate people for what they do for you, appreciate people, what they're doing in the community, that ultimately comes back to you and me. So, and the people that you work with, the people you work for, and the people that work for you. So give honest and sincere appreciation. Now, the sincere is a pretty big word, but no, it's not a big word, it's just a few letters, but it's an important word. And so when you are going to show appreciation for someone, don't just check it off of your to-do list for today to show appreciation. Be sincere about it. Pick something that makes sense, and you think about it, and you truly are grateful, and you appreciate what that person is doing, and then show that to them. So that's all for the first section. The second section is give 6 ways to make people like you. I may not go through all 6. I'll just go through a few of these. So become genuinely interested in other people. So I think that's a big deal. I heard a saying a couple of years ago that said it's more important to be interested than to be interesting. So if I am a pilot and I do things, or I think I'll do cool things and I have cool things, nobody really cares about that. Show interest in other people. Be genuinely interested in other people. So ask them about their hobbies, and ask them how their family is, and get to know people. Stop and take a moment with the people you work with, the people you work for, the clerk at the Walmart. Take a moment to care about people and be interested. That's one of the ways to make people like you, is to like them, be interested in them. Be interested, not interesting. Second one on this list is smile. So that's a pretty good one, right? There is something, about a smile that's kind of cool. So, and that's simple. We can all do that. So remember to smile. Smile when you're on the telephone too. We've all heard that. When you're talking to someone, think about smiling, because when you smile, you're different. You sound different. And they've done studies about this. So remember, when you're talking to someone, we did a thing one time years ago in our agency where we put little small mirrors on the corners of the monitors for everyone, because they could kind of remind them, they look down and they see themselves, are they smiling or not? So anything that you can do to promote that, give that a try, because smiling makes a difference. Use people's name. Well, we know that one for sure. Now, a couple things I would tell you: if you're an insurance agent, you're talking to an existing customer or a prospect, pay attention to when they introduce themselves, think about their name, and use their first name or last name if that seems appropriate to you, Mr. this or that. But use their name. The only thing I would tell you is don't overuse their name. So don't make it creepy, but use their name enough, because people truly do love hearing their name. If you say, "What's up, man? What's up, dude? Hey, buddy," that's nothing compared to, "Hey, John, how are you doing, man? It's good to see you." So use people's names. Remember that. And remember their name. Don't be so caught up in you when you're introducing yourself to someone and they're introducing themselves to you that you're just, not even thinking about their name. And associate their name. Take a little time to Google or research if that's a problem for you. How can I remember people's names? And you'll get better at it. You may not be perfect. You may not be the best there ever has been, but you will get better than you are if you want to get better. So use their names. Be a good listener. Encourage others to do the talking. So kind of goes back to being interested in people. Ask people questions and listen and think. And I'm not good at this. I tend to be interested in some things that I've got going on that I think are pretty cool. So I see my neighbors that come over to visit, or I'm talking to people at work, and I want to say, "Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that." Try to think about that and be aware of that, and try to let other people talk and listen to other people. Talk in terms of other people's interest. I think we've already kind of covered that with, be interested in other people. And make the other person feel important. That's pretty cool too, because if you're talking to someone, and I'm not going to keep saying the categories, like people that work for you, people that you work for, your coworkers, your friends, your family, people at the store, everybody's who I'm talking about. Then it's really cool to make people feel interested, and that's easy to do when say, "How's your week been?" And almost no matter what they say, there's a lot of opportunity there for you to say, "Wow, that's pretty cool." You're really good at that, I guess, whatever it is they're talking about doing. Now, again, it needs to be sincere. So I go back to that. Don't make this sound weird and creepy and insincere. There's nothing worse than not being sincere. But I think the big thing here is be aware to try to make other people feel good. Because when other people feel good, they like you. When they like you, you feel good. So it's a circle, it's a cycle that is really, really cool and important. So that's all for that second section. And that second section was 6 ways to make people like you. The third and fourth section is win people over to your way of thinking. So I'll go through these pretty quickly. I'm just going to hit on a few. There's 12 of these. Don't argue. This says you're never going to win an argument. Do not argue. Avoid the argument. So I'm not going to keep harping on that. Just give that some thought. Research that even in this book or, if you'd like. But just don't argue. There are no winners in an argument. If you win the argument, you feel good. Well, does the other person feel good? No, that's not a win. The other one is show respect for other people's opinions. So we're all different. Sometimes it's hard. I had a business coach, Harvey Smith, who is a great and dear friend still today. And Harvey, he said so many things. One of the things that Harvey said was, it's difficult for us to realize that people's view of the world, because it's coming from their lens and their perspective, it's so hard for us to understand how they see it. They see it different. The next thing is when you're wrong, admit it. So there's nothing worse than somebody trying to cover up a mistake or try to twist things around for it to make it look like, or just once they realize they've made a mistake, kind of get off that subject. Admit you made a mistake. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. You're going to make them. And people respect you far more when you say, I dropped the ball on that, than if you make an excuse. So own up to your mistakes, admit when you make a mistake. Oh, this is kind of a cool one. So, and I believe I've struggled with this before. Most of these things probably. So let the other person feel like the idea is theirs. There's going to be times, personally and professionally, when you're in a situation where there's a little gray area about when you're talking things through, you've got some dialogue going, and an idea starts surfacing. And was it your idea in this conversation, or was it that person's idea? Let them have it. It doesn't matter. The result is what matters. The end is what matters. So make them feel good. Let them have the idea. Just give it away. Give it away. Let them feel like it's their idea. And I need to learn from that one too. So that's all for my section number 3. There's other things there that you probably would enjoy. I'm going to move on though. Now, the last one is be a leader. So the first thing it talks about, and I agree with this, begin with praise and honest appreciation. This says honest. Earlier we talked about sincere. They're very similar. So let's be honest. Let's be sincere. And show praise and appreciation. If you're a leader, one of the best ways to lead is to show people that you appreciate them and praise them. Another thing it says is mention your own mistakes. Talk about your own mistakes. So people, if you never talk about your mistakes and you're a leader and you're helping mold people and you feel like, the best way to mold people is to get them to stop making mistakes, there's a part of that that's okay. But really focus on what they do right and talk about some of the mistakes that you've made, because you've made mistakes. And they will appreciate and they'll accept what you're talking to them more when they realize that this is a mutual relationship and you're not holier than thou and that you've made mistakes too. So talk about your mistakes. That will help. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. And I like that one a lot too. So instead of saying, do this, do this, do this, say, would you mind doing this tomorrow for this customer? Would you mind helping with that? So ask it in a question form. And if you're the leader, what are they going to say? You've got a weird problem and another problem if people say, no, thank you, So, but it just sounds so much better. It makes people feel better. And treat people like coworkers and teammates, not like they're your employee. They don't work for you. I don't really like those phrases. So they're on your team, your teammates. Would you do this, Bob? And they can ask you to do things too. So if they say, hey, Eddie, would you do this for me? I love that. I love being a servant leader. So I like helping people with things and I like to feel needed. So, but I don't like to be told too much. I like to be needed. So think about that. praise the slightest improvement in people. That goes a long way. So if you're wanting somebody to get a lot better at something, and if they get a little better, that's a win. So identify it. Take the time to praise them one-on-one, write something to them, praise them publicly, all of those kind of things. And when you start praising the small victories and the small wins and the small improvements, then you encourage them to grow. And one day you should get to where you're hoping to get, which is at the very end and this huge improvement, but it's going to come in baby steps. This one's kind of cool. Give the person a reputation to live up to. So if I'm talking to you and I say, the thing I like about you is your work ethic. You are there every day. Your passion it just comes through. Everybody loves being around because of your attitude. Your attitude's so strong, so positive. Now, I'm not saying, just a bunch of flattery, because flattery is of the tongue, and that's not really, we're talking about something from the heart here. So it needs to be true. There needs to be some of that in that person. Nobody's 100% of everything. So it's okay if you find some areas in a person's life that they have some of this quality. Talk about that being a good quality of them. Give them a reputation to live up to. They're on time at work, and they have a positive attitude. They influence others well. They're great with customers. So talk about the kind of things you want them to be. Giving them a reputation to live up to is what the book talks about here. Okay, that's it. I could go on and on about this book, but again, that's how to win friends and influence people. So I'd love to know your comments and thoughts about this. If you enjoyed this, if there's any books you've read that you'd like to share with me, please do. I'd love to read more. And if you would like this copy, which is my copy that I've had a long time, it's pretty worn out. I'm going to give this copy away because my wife wants me to stop buying more books and filling up the house with more books until I start getting rid of some, and I totally get her point. So I'm going to give this book away to someone. So if you will post in the comments here and/or send me a personal email, Eddie@genesissoftware.com, and that's Genesis with a J. Then just say, I saw your video. I'd love that copy of your book if you've not already given it away. I'll wait a few days and I'll let a few requests come in, and then I'll kind of randomly pick out of a hat or something. I'll get a real hat. I don't know if I have a hat. I've got a ball cap maybe. And I'll give this to someone. So thanks again for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. That when it's not your opinion, please be respectful. Respect is Parker, no. Stop it. The other thing here, I had to move the camera a little bit. I had some dog problems. The other thing here a little bit, the next thing is when you're wrong, admit it. So there's nothing.